Okay, let's get started. Welcome to tonight's City Council regular meeting, Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. At this time, we'd like to have Pastor Rusty Akers from the Community of Hope Church. Please come forward. He's going to give us our invocation, after which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to live in the land of the free, God. We just pray for your Spirit to move on this Super Tuesday across this nation and also in these council chambers tonight. We just ask this in King Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Rusty. Appreciate it. This time we'll move to the roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapados?
Here.
Councilmember Kimball? Councilmember Manfredi? Here. Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Wade?
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Here.
Mayor Price?
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great. At this time, we have no proclamations or awards, and Council, with your permission, I will be moving the report from the mayor to the end of the meeting. With that, we'll move to the report from the city manager at this time.
Mayor, if you recall, on the 20th, I'm bringing Christy up to, Ms. Reister up to provide you with the highlights of that event.
This was a super exciting event. I'm not sure how many of you had a chance to come out to it. Last year, we had about 300 race participants, and this year we had 678. So it was a huge success. I think having the food trucks and that part of the festival and all the fun activities for the kids to do, families hung around well after the event was over to jump in the bounce houses and enjoy the great food and just the great company. And it was just a ton of fun. And it was wonderful to see so many people out supporting the people that were actually participating in the event, and to see so many families with kids participating in the event, which we had last year as well, but it was just fantastic. And that we more than doubled the attendance, I think, was just huge. And it's clearly growing, and it's just becoming a wonderful event. It was just a ton of fun. So I'm actually really excited because I haven't seen this video that we have for you this evening highlighting the event. So I'm really excited to see it.
Doing the color run.
Going on the color run. Getting ready to run the Maricopa color run.
Today we are celebrating the second annual Copa Color Run and Food Truck Fun Fest. And we have a DJ out there playing some good music, and we have food trucks, and we have business vendors, we have inflatable bounce houses, and a photographer on site to take pictures of all the wonderful runners.
So far it's good. I like the food trucks and everything, and the music playing. It's nice to be out on a day like this.
I'm kind of nervous, but it should be fun. I think it'll be exciting.
Hopefully we get like a lot of paint on us. This year we just really focused on trying to make this event bigger and better. We got a lot of feedback from our community that they wanted to see some different things at our runs. So that is why you see a beer garden with colored beer out here today, and you see the inflatables with something for the kids to do. And then just the overall just community atmosphere. It's a good feel out here. People are out just hanging out, having a good time, people watching.
Had a really good time. Spraying each other with colors and running through.
Because we got to get the colors. I liked when we walked and then the people sprayed us with colors.
You get a little in your mouth every now and then, but it's nothing.
Or on your eyelashes. Or on your eyelashes.
I can barely see now, but it's okay.
It was really, really fun.
It was fun. It was great.
Really colorful.
We've been here for 10 years. I think it's really, it's a great place, especially with a lot of young families. So, we've kind of grown with the city, with our family ever since we moved here. So it's fun.
It's a great town. It's got your hometown feel to it.
We plan to continue to just grow this and make it bigger and better each year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. That'll take us to the call to the public at this time. If you'd wish to approach the council, you may do so. We have a timer up there for your help and keeping you at about 3 minutes. If there's something on your mind, we'd love to hear from you, but just please remember we don't often respond as it's not agendized, and so we can't do so at this time.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm Dan Beach with MCE, the Maricopa Center for Entrepreneurship, and I just want to bring your attention to two sort of important events that are happening this month and that MCE is involved with. The first is the 4th Maricopa Business to Business Expo, and this is going to be at Central Arizona College, the Maricopa campus, on the 9th, which is Wednesday at 5 p.m. And this is a partnership between the MCE, the Chamber of Commerce, and the NCAC. And we're expecting about 50 Maricopa businesses, which will make this the largest business expo in the city. They're going to be featuring their business and talking about their business. The city is going to be represented by the Economic Development Department, and they're going to hand out the shop local paraphernalia, the bags and the goodies. One of the interesting things is that the Culinary Arts Department at CAC provides appetizers and desserts, and they're phenomenal. They're worth coming just for that. So this is a great event. I hope everyone comes. The second one is, I know Mayor Price is very involved at the Maricopa City Science Festival, the fair, and new for this year is the Science Festival. If you think back to 1958, I mean, that's the dark ages for most of us, but Steve Jobs was 5. Bill Gates was also 5, but he's, I think, about 8 months older. Einstein had been dead for 3 years. But think about how little science there was. Things as simple as your digital watch didn't exist, wasn't invented until 1970. If you remember an actress by the name of Hedy Lamarr, she was known as an actress back in the day, not a cell phone pioneer. And then, boom, science happened. Cell phones, internet, CRTs, CAT scans, MRIs, all things happened. And they happened as an outgrowth of science fairs and science in the schools and science in our communities. And that's what we're trying to bring back today. And so we're looking forward to people to come to the science fair. It's in conjunction with the Salsa Festival. It's on the 19th. It runs from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock. And we're looking for more exhibitors if businesses want to come and show off their science. And additionally, we're looking for students who want to submit science projects. And there are some scholarships that they can win, up to $500 for first place. And we're looking to have just a great time for everybody. So thank you, and we hope everyone comes.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Anyone else at this time like to come forward? Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public and move on to item 7, the minutes. Item 7.1 and 7.2. Council, can I have a motion to approve, please?
So move.
Have a motion and a second to approve minutes 7.1 and 7.2. Any further discussion on these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. This time there are no public hearings to address, so that'll take us to item 9 on the agenda, the consent agenda. Council, we didn't have any issues or questions before on the consent, so can I have a motion to approve consent, please?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. That'll take us right to the regular agenda items. 10.1, we're going to hear a presentation about the Business Beat program, a marketing resource for the Maricopa business owners. Is this for discussion only? Denise.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Denise Earhart, Economic Development Director for the City of Maricopa. The Economic Development Department is responsible for the city's business attraction, business retention. We're also the first point of contact for site selection, market and demographic information, as well as providing business resources. The City of Maricopa understands the importance of supporting local businesses. A community that spends their dollars locally impacts both the business environment as well as the ability to provide city services. So Business Beat is a weekly video series that encourages Maricopa residents to source locally. It is a 2 to 3 minute video that is produced for businesses that apply for a Business Beat. It's a year-round component of Shop Local. It informs residents of goods and services, and it's a great marketing tool. Is that for me? Thank you. It's just dry weather. So who can apply for a business license or a Business Beat video? Basically, any business that has a business license. So commercial retailers, restaurants, home-based businesses. If you operate in Maricopa, we definitely want to highlight your goods and services. It's pretty easy. The application can be found online. It's on the ED landing page. You fill out a few questions, you let us know who you are, if you're available for us to come out and shoot a video, and then we schedule the video tapings monthly and we release a video weekly. So why? At the end of the day, this provides a valuable marketing service for businesses. It also encourages Maricopa residents to shop local, and it acts as a vehicle for us to do our business retention and expansion visits. So we can stay close to the businesses in Maricopa, we can understand what they're experiencing and the trends that they're seeing. I think it's also important to understand the impact of video marketing. I did some research and I found that a 1-minute video is equivalent to 1.8 million words. Also, 45.4% of videos that are watched, or 45.4% according to ComSource, which measures online engagement and use, that's the percentage of internet users that view at least one video online. Plus 100 million viewers, or 100 million people will watch a video online. Granted, those are those viral videos of a cat jumping off the kitchen table or doing something really cool. And some of those are people looking to do something a little bit better. But a good portion of those are people looking for goods and services. These are some of the businesses that have been featured. Tacos and More, American Family Family Insurance, Beat and Berry. We also featured some of the business resources, so the Chamber as well as MCE. I'm also happy to report that the places that do offer food, I've been doing quality control. So Tacos and More has a fantastic breakfast burrito, and Copa Craze has a great energy drink. And if you haven't checked out Beat and Berry, they have a smooth juice, which gives you great energy. So when we're out there, we're highly interactive. I did a 2-minute yoga session with Maricopa Yoga. I didn't do CrossFit. I think that's for somebody that's a little bit more experienced. But this really highlights the different goods and services in the city. So what do we do once we create this video? The video sits on the city's webpage. It also sits on our YouTube channel. But most importantly, we're able to distribute it throughout the city's weekly newsletter, as well as Maricopa Matters Facebook page, and a few other of our social media platforms. So since November of last year, we've renewed the program. We've had over 5,000 views. We've reached 17,000 people and have had over 1,400 views on YouTube. So we wanted to highlight some of the responses that we received from the businesses. We love it, appreciate the fact that you guys are out there willing to get us local shops and business. We're not getting local business, we're promoting their goods and services. So the video's theirs, it can sit on their website, they can use it in their marketing plans, They could encourage people to share the video with their friends. So it's really a video for them to use as they choose. CrossFit Maricopa, thank you so much for the great job in highlighting our business. We are so pleased with the video. Hats off, job well done. I greatly appreciate the ability to not make me look like a buffoon, Scott Bartle. So the key in these videos, we've noticed that people do a great job at liking our Facebook videos, but the key is to share the videos. So this is where everyone, not just mayor and council, not just city employees, but members of the community can tell other people what exists in this city. So for example, Chris Cahill, which it's a small insurance business, he was able to gain 1,000 views very quickly because he shared his video. In fact, I looked back today and I noticed that he was the only one with over 17 shares. So 3,600 people were reached. This is a great way for people to learn about the businesses, the different types of resources that exist within the community. So he was really excited to have us out there. He was actually our very first video that we shot. So it's kind of rocky. I was new at it, he was new at it, but it turned out great, and he's our most viewed video. And at this point, we'd like to show you a quick clip of some of the videos that we've shot. I share with you Business Beat. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Denise. Council, questions? Perfect.
Well
Keep up
done.
the good work.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move to item 10.2. We're going to hear and discuss possibly taking action on ratify a budgetary transfer, $12,672 from the City Contingency Fund from Fire Department, Professional and Occupational Services to replenish this fund in the account for budgeted items. This is for discussion and action. Brady, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm here before you to request action be taken to ratify a misunderstanding on a 12/15/2015 request for originally for $23,218. Councilmember Smith made a motion and it went right by me and several other people, and her motion, as I understand it, was to go from that point, from December through the end of this fiscal year. And the entire balance got shifted over, which is what everybody kind of thought was the case. So we have $12,672 more than the motion indicated. The $12,672 is to replenish accounts that we use to pay for professional occupational services. And my original intent was for the entire $23,218 to make us whole again in an account that we were using for something it wasn't intended for. So my request is to ratify the original action to include the $12,672.
Okay. I'll turn it to Councilmember Smith. Do you have comments or questions or concerns on what is being asked here?
My main concern was taking action with contingency funds for things that have already been expended without that type of consideration ahead of time. Now, granted, it's just $12,000. I understand that. But it was a matter of principle for me in terms of taking action on things out of contingency that had already been expended without consideration prior.
Okay. Council, other thoughts or concerns, questions? Follow up to Councilmember Smith's thoughts. Anyone? What would be your pleasure then, Council? What would you prefer to do? Yes, Councilmember Chapados.
Mayor, move to approve 10.2.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
So appears the ayes have it, and the motion is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On to 10.3. Mayor and City Council shall discuss and possibly take action on approving a 3-year contract with Wells Fargo Bank for banking depository services and merchant services. This also is for discussion and action. Brenda.
Good evening, Mayor Price and members of the council. In accordance with the City of Maricopa Purchasing Code, the city issued a solicitation for banking and depository services along with merchant services. The information quotation was forwarded to local banking institutions and merchant service providers. 4 proposals were received and evaluated for the responsiveness to needs contained in the RFP. Great Western Bank, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and ACI Worldwide are the 4 that responded to the proposals. An outside consultant was used in developing the RFP as well as evaluating all of the proposals. The evaluation was based on the responsiveness and ability to provide services and reports, banking services costs and earning potential, creditworthiness and stability of the bank, and demonstrated experience, references, and continuity of banking officials. The analysis evaluated services which will be used initially as well as added during the contract. Wells Fargo offers many opportunities to automate city processes. One of the city's concerns is with Maricopa growing, the number of transactions and items being processed through finance is significantly increasing. And with the current state of the city's finances and the possibility of not adding new positions in the near future, we looked at which bank could offer us the most possibilities to reduce and automate processes to be as efficient and effective as possible within the city. Wells Fargo offers bill pay processing through sending a file to the bank for automated bill pay, which is not a product or service that is currently offered in our banking contract. They also offer remote deposit capabilities where as part of the contract and incentives for changing banks and ongoing costs, we can do remote deposit at possibly Copper Sky within finance or within the Public Works facility at the main counter, meaning they will provide us with the machines necessary to automatic scan those checks directly to the bank. And then we're saving Copper Sky time coming over to City Hall to deposit with finance time in preparing the deposit and going to the bank. So that is one that we see as providing us big cost savings and potential time within finance. The bank also is offering various other options to expand our services and create additional efficiencies within the city that we will look to evaluate as we move forward and once we get transition to the new bank if it is awarded tonight. The purpose of the analysis was to find the best services and most effective and efficient banking situation for the city, as well as looking and evaluating the interest and earnings potential of our funds on deposit with the bank. With us tonight, we have Todd Bowden. He's the VP Senior Industry Specialist Government Banking Division with Wells Fargo. Pat Tanabe, who is a Senior VP and Business Banking Manager for Government Banking Division, as well as John Eichner, Government Sales Officer. And they're here if you should have any questions or wish to discuss with them now or after the council meeting about the services should you award tonight. Mayor Price and members of the council, staff recommends awarding a 3-year contract to Wells Fargo for banking and merchant services.
Thank you very much, Brenda. Appreciate it. Vice Mayor Farrell, I think you had a question?
He's in the back. This is Vice Mayor Brown.
Oh,
that's Farrell.
I did say Farrell.
That's Brown. As in Farrell
Every time he enters the room, I screw it up. Stop doing that, would you?
All right. You see the impression you make? And you see, just being in the room. All right. Brenda,
My apologies.
I think we all recognize that Wells Fargo has It's a tremendous bank in terms of total asset size. I was curious, did Great Western not bid, since we'd been with them for so many years? Is it the case they did not bid? The fact that Wells Fargo offers so many more services.
Mayor Price, Vice Mayor Brown, we did evaluate Great Western. They did bid on the contract. The current services that they offer as far as technology and efficiencies, they do not have a lot of the automated processes that Wells Fargo offers. The cost of the Great Western Bank proposal were also significantly more than the costs associated with Wells Fargo.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of 10.3.
Thank you. We have a motion. Let's see if there's a second, and then we'll move to questions. There's a second. Let's move to questions before we proceed. Councilmember Wade and then Councilmember Smith.
Mr. Mayor, in the local Wells Fargo office, I noticed the individuals you point out, are they local or are they not local here in Maricopa?
They're not local here within Maricopa. We will have a local person here that we will be able to work directly with in the local branch. The responsiveness that we've had from Wells Fargo with questions that we've asked has far exceeded the requests and questions that we've had with the other respondents to the RFP.
Okay, that just was nice if we had a manager, a local person here to put a face with a person, that's all. Thank you.
No question. Okay. Any other questions regarding the contract this time? Seeing none, we have a motion on the table, and it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Brenda. Appreciate it. And last but not least, we're going to have a presentation updating council on actions of the 2016 Arizona legislative session and discuss progress on our state and federal legislative agenda. This is for discussion and action. Paul, take it away.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much for allowing me to update you on all the exciting things happening downtown at the Capitol. So let's begin. This is basically opening day, January 11th. 100 days, we'll put them out of there April 20th. They're probably going to get out a little bit sooner. If they did do 100 days, all the bills would be effective 90 days after that, so July 20th implementation date. The yellow represents things that have changed since I put this into Legistar and what happened in the past 5 days. We knew Speaker Gowan was running for Congress, CD1, where Maricopa lies. Also, President Biggs has announced that he's running for Matt Salmon's seat. So they're both running for Congress. So the big joke is sine die in 5. They believe that there can be a big rush to get out of there. So that may actually have an impact on what bills make it to the finish line and what don't. If you remember last year, some of the bills were left on the cutting room floor because President Biggs wanted to get out of there soon. So we'll be watching that. Platform bills that are on the City of Maricopa legislative platform are our bill 2146, the sale of property and having the threshold to go to the vote. That made it through hearing today, and also we'll be testifying tomorrow afternoon in government on the Senate side. Going well. Everybody seems happy. There's so much more things going on. The census bill, which we're all have taken part in, 2483, made it through third read today. We were surprised about that. It had been languishing and hadn't been to Cal, but it is going to the Senate, so that seems back on track. And then one of the other bills on our legislative platform, the substance abuse homes, it did pass third read going to the Senate. So the 3 bills that are active right now on our platform are moving forward. Bills we are tracking, probably the most impactful bill I think that's left for Maricopa, the CFD bill 2568, allows any landowner with a parcel of land 600 acres or more to create a CFD without the permission of council. So we have a number of parcels that are above 600 acres where the landowners could choose to, if this bill is passed, just sit down, create a CFD and within the county or within the city, and that would be it. Now, they still have to go to the process of bonding and everything like that, but normally it's a big local control issue. We've lost that ability to have a say over that. Also, there'd be a 5-member board. 2 members would be from the building community, 2 members would be from the city, and the 3rd member would be the city could pick from a list provided by the builders. And that would be the board that would judge how to spend that bonding money. But when you have the capacity to bond, you have the capacity to burden the future homeowners, and we find that troublesome that there's no elected interface there, that you have no one that is an elected official responsible for that action. One of those other ones that we had been watching, the 1% cap fix, which is a bad bill, and this was make it a little bit better, but we retained on Cal twice, probably not going to make it across the finish line. It's stuck in the House. They usually don't try a 3rd time. Mixed emotions on this. We're stuck with the existing law that was in last year, but at least the deadline is still till June of this year, so haven't really analyzed exactly how that impacts us, but no one's really sure. It's such a small, narrow issue, and it affects Maricopa pretty much by ourselves. Municipal water rates, a bill where the city cannot pass on the cost of purchasing water infrastructure onto new homeowners. You can't levy a fee to say, well, this came out of Buckeye, where they purchased global water there, and the builders are fearful that the new homes would have to pay the freight for the Buckeye purchasing global water there. We've been fighting this pretty hard. All of the home cities have been fighting this. They're working on it, but it's got traction. Bond disclosure. This is actually a Vince Leach bill. When voters approved bonding language, they have a maximum rate that's included in the actual paperwork, and this bill would require it be put into the pamphlet for the voters to approve. The cities are very upset that it's an outlier. It's likely not going to happen. But if it's approved by the voter, they want the rate to be printed and shared with the voters. If it's approved, the language is approved, then the voters should see it as the thought process for Representative Leach. But we believe that it'll really hurt our ability to sell bonds. The waiver bills, there's 204 waivers that we do a lot of the time. I know Dennis here will perk up on this because Dennis and Tina do a lot of this. The language says it would be illegal for a person to waive their constitutional rights by signing away their rights for a 204 waiver. It's got lots of legal problems, but it's out there making traction. Recording e-sessions, a lot of hubba over this one. There is a bill that required all entities to record all public meetings, at least with the e-session would be made public, but you'd have to store it. That one failed in the House and is going no further. And then the Santan bill, allowing Santan to incorporate over the objections of Florence. Not in Cal yet. If it's not on the Cal calendar this week, probably not going to make it. Still possible, but it's not looking good for the Santan bill. A couple more. This is the one that Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Manfredi had asked about, the 1257 guns in public places. This is the one that we've had conversations about before. It's the 3rd time they've run this bill. We retained in Cal twice on the Senate side. They tried it about 2 weeks ago, try it again. Still have not gotten it out of the Senate. Chances are it's fairly dead unless they can pop it up on a striker, but after you failed twice in Cal, it's pretty much gone. Earlier, so I knew it hadn't gone. It got popped up on the Cal just today. Thought it might make it, but it didn't. So it's been going back and forth. The rest of them, Right to Earn a Living Act, and the 2 below it, limitations on regulatory actions. A lot of these are kind of pro-governor, lowering limitations of. The governor wants to make sure that cities aren't putting undue burdens on businesses and impacting economic development. Both of those are kind of hard to judge the impact on them, but we're watching them because they are local control issues. The middle one, 1487, local violation of laws. Bisbee moved to pass a ban on plastic bags for grocery stores after the state banned the banning of plastic bags in grocery stores. So they're in hot water, and this bill is like, we call it the anti-Bisbee bill. It allows the state to take state shared revenue from cities that ignore ARS. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll probably get worked out, but it's kind of an awkward situation there with Bisbee. The last one on the bottom of the page, levy increases requiring, is Chief Stahl watching his watch? He's got that look. I know he times me usually, and so I don't want to talk too fast because I don't want to make him too happy. 1523 levy increases. This would require a unanimous vote of the council to raise taxes more than 15%. This comes out of Senator Smith. I think it's repercussions from the CAC situation. The chances of any city raising their primary property tax 15% in one fell swoop is not there. We don't like the precedence it sets to having a unanimous vote. We've always gone with a majority vote. Having a full unanimous vote of 7 to do something is bad, just bad policy, and so we're against that on principle. Last couple ones, the annexation exemption, which would help us with annexations in Maricopa. It's a Queen Creek bill. That's going well. There's a bill that would add extra punishments and strip out extra payments to people who are caught absconding with city funds. That's in there. The one that did change on here, HB 2540 photo radar bill, outright ban. They've always tried this. We thought they had some legs this year. Not in Cal yet. I don't know. It's 50-50 whether to make it to Cal. So it's not dead yet, but it's got like a little bit of hiccup in its heartbeat there. And then shameless plug. Representative T.J. Shope is running his TPT exemption for crop dusters. We don't like the fact that many legislation is whittling away at TPT exemptions, and that's the money that we get. But Representative Shope has been a strong supporter of Maricopa, and so I promised him I would share this bill with you. This is his bill. He's tried the second time, and so I just wanted to share that he is trying to do that. It's a very narrow impact for farmers in Pinal County. So 2133, if you hear about it, it's not that much impact, but very important to him. Let's see here. Okay. Notable outcomes, things that have happened already, things we know for sure already. PSPRS has been passed, 2 bills and the vote of the people. So that will help a lot of smaller cities that have older retirement groups, and some cities have. We're a new city. We don't have that many people left in the retirement system, but older cities do. The big fix, a lot of stakeholders working on this for 2 years, came through, very helpful to all cities. Construction TPT bill, this one, we were going a little hair on fire over this, but it's been backed down for right now. Study group, we'll be watching how we get involved, but it'll be back in 2017. Just hopefully we can have an impact and make sure it's a better outcome. Maricopa, the biggest problem about construction TPT, if it goes to point of sale, any housing construction tax will go to the point of sale of the material, and Maricopa would see none of the tax advantages of having all these homes built here. The homes will be built, and we have to provide services with them. We should have the right to collect taxes on the materials that are sold there. The CCW tax credit for training died. That was something that had come up with why, the cost of training for a concealed carry license, and it was an actual tax rebate or a credit so that you didn't have to pay that $80 to learn how to properly manage your gun and where to hide it and all that good stuff. And they were going to reimburse you for the training, but people said, why are you giving money to, well, anyway. And then the TIF bill. There was no TIF bills survived the opening bell. They were trying to make it into the mix, but we'd all had high hopes, as we always do, but they were once again dashed. Tax increment financing did not happen this year. That is our state legislative platform. Quickly, federal legislative platform, I'm council and the city manager heading off to DC tomorrow for our hill trip, our annual hill trip. Our legislative platform that council passed seek federal funds for SR 347 grade separation. This was passed before we knew we had the Tiger for sure. Advocate support for the 347 project, federal funding for Lower Santa Cruz, I-11 designation, which we did win or didn't receive, and then advocating on behalf of the City of Maricopa with the Environmental Protection Agency. We did get the Cowtown monitor straightened out, so actual 3 victories on here already, which is all good news. But for the 2016 DC trip, what we will try to accomplish, what the mayor, council, and city manager try to accomplish, maintain and grow our relationships with our friends and supporters in Washington, D.C. We've had good luck, and they've been very good to us, and so we need to go there and not just, as a mayor likes to say, you know, once you get something like the Tiger, you just don't cut it off. You keep those relationships growing. Thank them for support of our Tiger and offer updates on the progress on 347. Stress the importance of the adequate funding for the Lower Santa Cruz River projects. There's 3 budget cycles to the president's budget that have to be met, and so we just want to keep thanking everybody for making that happen. I-11, the importance, we have certain paths that would be more beneficial to Maricopa than others in that I-11 project, so we want to keep squeaking that wheel. And then invite our delegation to visit Maricopa, talk about Maricopa, just let them know that we're not just we're fair weather friends. They've been helpful, we're still there, saying hello, engaging them, and having that good relationship. Questions?
Council, any questions for Paul on this item? Nope. All right, thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Now, that might be the end of our business, but I would suggest you stick around for a few minutes. We're going to move into the mayor's report that I moved to the end of this meeting, and so if you'll bear with me 2 seconds, I'm going to come down there, and we're going to take some liberties at this time. So, Paul, come on back up here. Come on. Many of you may or may not know that Paul is our Intergovernmental Affairs Director, and as such, we rely on him very heavily for a lot of things. Many of those things are the day-to-day politics, the politics between federal and local agencies, the politics between cities, states, etc. And if you think that there's not a lot of politics going on at the municipal level, you'd be very wrong. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that you never see, but like Paul pointed out earlier, some of the 3 major victories that we have at the federal level sometimes are more major victories than we have at the state level. And so it really is a big deal. So, well, look at that. That's pretty cool. So, Paul has been a stalwart of the city of Maricopa for 11 years, 12 years?
10 and a half.
10 and a half. And what number employee were you when the city first started?
Somewhere between 13 and 17, depending who you ask.
13 and 17. That's 11, 12 years gone by. Things have changed a little bit, including his look. So, that's good and bad. Point in case. But we have some stories to tell, and the reason we're telling these stories about Paul today is because he has applied for and been granted the position of city manager in the city of Globe. So congratulations, Paul. Now, as our city manager will attest to you, and any city manager, it's a big deal, and it's a tough job. You got to keep all of your bosses happy, and then all their bosses happy, and all staff happy, and that's kind of a big job. So there's a lot that goes on with it, and Paul's about to walk into that hornet's nest. And so we figured there was a few things that he needed to be prepped for and ready for as he does this, as well as we wanted to have some folks come up from his past and tell some stories about him a little bit. And so we're going to ask Mayor Smith, former Mayor Smith, who is now Supervisor Smith in Pinal County, to come on up here. Vice Mayor Farrell, former Mayor Farrell, who I always say every time he walks in the room, I always screw up Vice Mayor Brown's name because that was my first 2 years on council. Nicole Daly, who actually started out here as an intern, I believe. Is that correct? Many, many years ago. And we worked together when I was on the HOA board. And she has gone to Gilbert and now into Surprise and has really moved up the ranks in municipal government. So we're going to start here with Supervisor Smith, and if you want to stand up here and talk a little something and just kind of go down the line, and then we're going to move over to some things that we have. So it's all you.
Thank you, Mayor Price, council members, for the opportunity. I had the opportunity to be the mayor of this city from 2008 until 2012. And during that time, I'd have to characterize Paul Jepson as the early years. Paul Jepson in the early years was afraid of flying. And maybe Mayor or Edward Farrell might be able to elaborate on this, but when he would go on a plane, he was definitely afraid of flying, and we would make those trips to Washington. You did not want to sit next to that guy. No way. He was too traumatized and to meet. We were too cheap to buy a taxi, and Uber didn't exist at the time, but we had some cold and long marches. I always came back tired. And then one time I remember I almost broke my arm reaching, but I remember those Washington trips and working through the federal legislation, making those contacts. We'd had the forced marches from the hotel to Congress. This guy lives with a family of gluten-free family, and when he goes on these trips, he's going for the bread basket immediately. So, but Paul, you certainly participated in a number of the very, very important projects, and a couple of them are, of course, still up there, which are the Great Separation and the Lower Santa Cruz River Project. Both of these are really very, very important for the progress of the city of Maricopa, but the Great Separation, I remember it was your encouragement early on to try to recruit former Mayor Kelly Anderson to be on the State Transportation Board, and we all know how key that was in order to make that project happen. And that was a brainy idea, and so that happened, and the history, now we have a Great Separation Project. It was just that part you played, and that was very key, I think, in that role. Second is, I think we preceded the Lower Santa Cruz River Alliance with some of our activities in advocating for a flood control solution along the Santa Cruz. Now, after we did some early work and groundwork, there was an organization that's called Lower Santa Cruz River Alliance that was formed. That's a big consolidation of about 22 members. But Paul, again, was out there thinking ahead, and he's going to do an awesome service for the city of Globe in your leadership and your ideas and your wacky behavior. So congratulations, Paul.
Well, I got to say, I had a really good time today, just reminiscing and thinking about stories about Paul from the first time he got here in 2005. And Mayor Smith want to talk about the early days. I mean, I can talk about the early days with Paul. In fact, I'll never forget meeting Paul at City Hall, which was a double-wide trailer at the time, and him taking his wallet out and showing me these two girls that he had, two twin daughters, and you can tell he was just the proudest dad in the world. And gosh, I think they were, 6 or 7 at the time, and now they're a freshman at U of A? Yeah, they're freshmen. So he's raised his children while working at the city of Maricopa. But I mean, the stories I can tell from that double-wide trailer to the 40 trailers that got put together to this Taj Mahal here, to almost getting me killed in Washington, D.C. Many good times with Paul, but he is just like the former mayor said, he's a very hard worker, and when I think of Paul and when I look at Paul, just one word comes to my mind, and it's relationships. This man is all about relationships. He's a people person, and I can't go anywhere at the state level and nobody knows, there's nobody that doesn't know who Paul Jepson is. Paul, you're going to do the city of Globe well, just like you've done Maricopa well, and I just really feel bad for the person that has to fill your shoes in here. Congratulations to you.
So I have warm and fuzzy Paul Jepson stories, but that's not what I wanted to share. So one of my favorite things about Paul that's actually a very little-known skill, or I think it's little known, now it won't be anymore. Paul is the king of getting a second dinner at any conference you attend. So I've actually been tracking this for the last 10 years that I've known you, and the record stands, conference to conference. Paul successfully negotiates, speaking of relationship building, into getting a second dinner at every single one of those. The other thing about... Thank you for your service. The other thing about Paul that I think some of you that are in the Wayback Machine, speaking of early days and before we got to the 20 wide, you'll remember our early annexations. And Paul was one of my math coaches on some of those early attempts. And so I remember late night, last minute, tabulating and calculating and trying to see where the numbers fell. And I thank Paul for the math lessons there. I'm not sure they're ones I will pass on to anyone in my family, but they were useful at the time. Paul's also the only employee, the only coworker I've ever had where I've had to establish rules about not talking politics with the interns. So we actually started that when I was an intern. So that was the legacy that we passed on beyond that from them. You're also the only coworker I've ever had that ate ravioli cold from the can, which is still gross. And then... And then I'll never forget, and this is a little warm and fuzzy, what you may not know about Paul, and we joke and we talk about the laughing things and kind of like to rib you a little bit. Paul is also the only coworker I've ever had that has always waited until my meeting was over before he went home to make sure that as I drove back up into the Phoenix area that I was safe the whole entire way home, and then he made me check in with him. So that, I think, is what sets you apart as a leader, certainly as a coworker. And then the final thing I'll leave with is we had a former city manager that used to describe the difference between me and Paul when we were describing, Paul's circular behavior and my very, very type A linear behavior. And he used to say, if you were describing an apple, Paul would stand up and say, there's this great red thing that provides life. And he'd talk about the sun and the water and the tree and the shade that it provided and the children that play underneath it. And at the end, you would kind of get around to the conclusion that he meant an apple. And he said, Nicole would stand up and say, it's an apple. So Paul, you are the circular to my linear, you are the yin to my yang, and you are definitely the Republican to my... I'm not even going to finish that.
So we have a few parting gifts. As a city manager, you have to go through a lot. And so we needed to prepare him for that, and we think we've done that over the last several years, but just to cap it off, we needed to make sure that he had a few preparatory materials for his travels into being a city manager. So we'll let Councilwoman Chapados take it over.
Thanks, Mayor. This is 10 years worth of history and warm fuzzy, so this is going to take a while. But one of the things we wanted to make sure that you had when you went to Globe was your own personal set of filing system. So these are all different things. You can fill them, not fill them, totally up to you. But we felt that these would be appropriate headings. Things to delegate once they give me a clone. I'm sure it's in here, just give me a minute to find it. Things I can let go of, just not today. On hold, right up until the deadline. If you've ever come to a council meeting at 6 o'clock and wondered why Paul rushes in at 6:10, it's because he's finishing up that PowerPoint. I love this one. Out of sight, out of mind. And last but not least, this is probably the most important file you have. This is the urgent file. There's more. Okay, with moving to Globe, we know that you're still going to be based down here, your wife's going to be down here, so we figured the first couple of weeks are probably going to be a little tough. Getting meals, getting used to knowing where the restaurants are and, you know, where they sell the most bread and that kind of thing. So you've heard of Blue Apron? This is nothing like that. Okay. This is your meals in a bag. Oh, you come on, you get to hold it. Give somebody those.
Okay, meals in a bag.
Meals in a bag.
Meals in a bag. Uh-oh.
China and silverware.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, optional, of course, but.
Essential tuna fish.
Oh, there we go. Danielle loves those.
Because you know how much you do with tuna fish, we've got you a very, very special, courtesy of Maricopa Fire, waste receptacle. Tuna fish waste only.
Yeah, you shouldn't leave them laying around too long.
If you happen to have guests over for dinner, we have a vomit bag just in case. Biohazard. You may want to put this around your desk just to let people know you are making dinner.
Okay. I'll use that. Oh my
Gloves
gosh.
for handling the tuna fish.
You scare me.
A mask just in case.
Okay, there you go.
Don't want to inhale directly. Goggles just in case that juice splashes up in your eye. And last but not least, just in case you have to throw away any of the utensils that you make, any sharp objects, you can protect the environment.
I haven't passed my drug test yet.
And there you go. There's your meals in a bag.
Oh, thank you. All right. I got it. I will share.
Now, the other thing that you're going to need is once you're up there, you're going to need luggage and a briefcase. So the plastic bag is your luggage. Just fill it up, t-shirts, pants, whatever you need. And this is your brand new briefcase. Okay? So we're going to give you some stuff that we know you're going to need.
Okay.
If you want to know the explanation of a jar of pickles, you're going to have to talk to him.
No, those discussions will not happen.
Just so you remember the good old days, gluten-free cookies.
Oh, just like home.
Just like home. Coffee, ready to go?
Yes,
Brew a cup at a time,
Need
or
that.
6 or 7 at a time?
Dinty Moore.
Dinty Moore beef stew, you can eat it right out of the can.
Yeah, you can. You really can. It is tasty and gluten-free. So.
Taste-free.
Well.
Jar of peanut butter. No utensils needed because Paul actually uses this to scoop the peanut butter.
Does that say natural?
That's all natural, yeah.
Oh, well, we'll work all you know.
Low sodium too,
Yeah.
so we don't,
Okay.
you know. The only thing worse than Paul on a salt buzz is a sugar buzz.
Yeah.
Essential bread.
Yes. Oh, the Hawaiian.
Just in case you get stuck, here's a bag of prunes.
Yeah.
Those long commutes can be very binding. Okay. Some essential stuff for council meetings, before and after. You got your travel toothbrush,
Okay.
mouthwash. You've got your Tums for the council meetings. You've got your baby aspirin, cherry chewable.
I like that.
Sneak out. you
Okay.
know. Okay.
Keep my heart
Duct
going.
tape, because this fixes anything.
Okay.
We've got a hand sanitizer and a stain remover. I hear sometimes that, that tuna fish can
Yeah,
splatter,
well,
or, you can be standing here with a pen, and before you know it, it's a
As long
mess.
as I don't get it mixed up.
Courtesy of Nicole, we have for last-minute annexation math.
Oh, good.
Just in case you ever get homesick, we've got a nightlife for you that I love Maricopa.
Oh, I like that. It's even that.
And what city manager would be complete without his own official seal? Office of City Manager.
Oh, thank you so much.
There you go.
Oh, I give you a hug for that. There's more. Oh, there's more.
There's
Oh my gosh. You guys. What?
We all chipped in, and there's a card, and there's a little something in there for you.
Oh, okay.
It's a bill.
It's a bill, yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, that story's so nice. I'll read closely in a second.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so beautiful.
It says,
Oh.
to Paul Jepson, and I got to get through this without crying, so excuse me. In appreciation for your dedication and service to Maricopa. Presented by City Council, March 1st, 2016.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Council, former council mayors, and Nicole, and all my staff. I know, and all of my coworkers who I'll miss so dearly, and this city, 10 years of learning about city government here has been so wonderful. Many memories, many friends. It's really hard to leave this place. I wouldn't be prepared to go to Globe if it wasn't for everything I learned here. All the things that I learned and the experiences. I always said as long as I'm making a difference and learning, I enjoy this place. A lot of history here, a lot of history being left behind, moving off to going from a 13-year-old city to a 110-year-old city, quite different, but that's amazing. Thank you all so much. And by the way, on the, I am fearful of flying. My dad was a fighter pilot, Air Force fighter pilot. I freak out in airplanes. I don't know what happened. So, but thank you all. Thank you all. Gregory, thank you. So.
Well, that pretty close to concludes our meeting, but as you can tell, Paul's been with us for a long time, and just to give you a kind of a quick reflection of his loyalty to the city, you got to remember that Paul lives in Anthem, and he drives all the way home to Anthem and out here for early mornings every single day, and he's done that for almost 11 years. And he stays later than most people. He's one of the first ones here sometimes, but he's got a lot of things he's got to do at the state capitol, but he's usually almost always the last one. And I think that we would all be remiss if we didn't say that we are sincerely going to miss him, and we wish you well in your future endeavors. Congratulations, Paul. Thank you all very much for staying with us and enjoying. We urge you to pass your congratulations along to Paul. And with that, City Council, can I have a motion to move to E-session, please? So moved. Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We'll adjourn and stand adjourned for 2 weeks.